Welcome to the Echo Tips Podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about a new feature on the Amazon Echo, just brought to us not too long ago, called Live Translate. So a powerful tool to kind of act as a go-between between you and someone else speaking a different language, and so that you guys can understand each other. But before we go into the details about this new feature, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by the New Vision program at Goodwill. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission services help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Hello, welcome back to the Echo Tips Podcast. As we mentioned earlier, our theme for today is going to be dealing with a new feature on the Amazon Echo line of devices that is called Live Translate. But before we get into that, we'd just like to welcome any new listeners we have to the podcast. My name is David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program at Goodwill here in southwestern Virginia. And additionally, our podcast, as you're listening to now, is composed of little nuggetized episodes dealing with new features on the Amazon Echo, and sometimes some oldies but goodies that sometimes get buried amongst all the new stuff. So we sometimes will revisit some of those little golden nuggets. If you're one of our returning listeners, we'd like to welcome you as well. It's good to have you back with us. And it's because of you, we're about to break 60,000 listens on our slightly over 120 episodes. And so it's great to have you back with us as well. Now, if either one of you, new listeners or returning listeners, would like to have a future episode, maybe a topic addressed or a question asked or answered, you can reach out to us on Facebook or Twitter at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys. And that's an easy way to correspond with us. You can also go to our main webpage, goodwillvalleys.com/newvision, and you'll find a mechanism there to send me an email as well. Okay, so that just covers a little bit about that. So, what is this new Live Translate feature, and how is it different than some of the things that the Echo has done before? So historically, the Echo has slowly integrated some translation features where you could say, hey lady, how do you say hello in Spanish? And she would come back and say, yada yada, hola. And I believe we may have even covered this in an earlier episode. There was a rudimentary interpreter feature, I do believe, at some point. I could be wrong about that. Definitely on the Google Assistant, a competing product, there has been. And the nature of those historically are that they'll say, okay, you designate, say, English, Spanish. And it will chime and say, okay, talk in English. And you would say something in English and it translates it to Spanish for the person who's there who speaks only Spanish. And then it will ding, and then they can say something in Spanish, and then it'll translate it back to English. So kind of a third party that's acting there. And it has this kind of sequence of things. You say something, it translates. They say something, it translates. And that way you guys can stay on the same page. Now this is taking it actually a very unique step further. And I don't know if some of the news outlets quite got this right. I saw a few of them get it right. I think a lot of them kind of glossed over it or didn't realize that this is something newer. The live component is really the fact that it can listen simultaneously for Spanish or English in this context, and identify which language you're speaking, and then translate it to whatever the other one is that has been designated that you need an interpreter for. So the chime will ding, but it doesn't matter at that point whether you speak in Spanish or English. you could speak in either. It will recognize it on the fly, translate it, and then send it back out as English. Or if you say it in as English, it'll come back out as Spanish. So kind of really cool. There is still the kind of chime component where it dings, you say something, then you pause long enough for it to know you're done, and then it translates that little segment of speech. So there's that kind of wonkiness a little bit still there. But ultimately, wow, what a neat kind of cool feature. And so we're going to kind of demonstrate that today. Oh, before I get into it too in depth, if you do have an echo in hearing distance of me, you may want to shut its ears off so that when I'm saying the A-Lady name, I'm not triggering your echo at home. And if you're listening to this podcast on your echo, you should be fine. But if you have another one in hearing distance, you might want to shut its ears off. Mine's currently shut off, so I hopefully won't trip it up. So to invoke this new feature, all you have to say is, hopefully everybody shut their ears off on their echoes, you would say, Alexa, please translate English to, and then the designated second language. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. But what are the language options? Well, you have, let's see here, French, German, Hindi, Italian, Brazilian Portuguese, and Spanish at this time. And also you have the other artificial limitation that right now this is U.S.-centric and U.S. English. So most articles I read online suggested that you not only need to have your location of your echo designated as United States, you also need to have the language set to U.S. English. So if you had, for some reason, switched it over to Australian because you like the accent or something, you would need to set it back to U.S. English to utilize this feature. And hopefully to those of our podcast listeners across the pond or in Australia or New Zealand or South Africa or wherever, hopefully this feature will be coming to you soon as well. Okay, so that's the basics of that, French, German, and it's pretty cool because you could probably use it as a tool for learning a foreign language as well. If you, like I took Spanish in high school, this might be a really kind of cool tool to use in that context as well. All right, so I'm going to turn the ears back on my echo here, and we can start practicing. I'm also going to queue up some Spanish statements here, which might not be perfectly mic'd, but that should allow us to get kind of a little bit of the flavor of how it can operate here. And so that I'll have that queued up for us as well. So let me turn on the ears on my echo. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, if you're using a device with a screen, such as the Echo Show line, you'll see the text correspondingly translated on screen as well. Okay, so let's just get started. Alexa, translate English to Spanish.
Okay, ready to translate. I'll record this conversation in the cloud to improve my service.
Lista para traducir. Guardaré esta conversación en la nube para mejorar mi servicio.
Hello, how are you doing today? My name is David.
Hola, ¿cómo te va hoy? Mi nombre es David.
Hasta luego.
See you later.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Alexa, stop.
Okay.
Okay, so isn't that fascinating? So there I made a statement in English and it translated it, and then correspondingly off of Wikimedia's website I found some generic Spanish phrases. It translated that back to me in English, and I don't know if you were able to hear the Spanish component here in the background very well. I didn't have that perfectly mic'd. Too many things here I'm trying to record at once. But pretty cool. Pretty cool, like one step closer to that Star Trek Universal Translator. So anyway, that will bring our episode to a close for today, but a pretty amazing and cool feature. But it's time to turn the ears back on your echoes. start practicing some of the many things that you've learned. And I'm David Ward for the New Vision program, and we thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. In conclusion, let me tell you a thing or two. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and it is also made possible in part by a grant from Community Foundation serving Western Virginia. And there's more. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. For more information, check out our website at goodwillvalleys.com/newvision. with no spaces. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a non-profit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission programs help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Thanks for listening.